What's going on, Odooers, and welcome back. My name is Jose Ignacio. Today, we're building on the Work Center Basics tutorial with a deeper dive into Work Center parameters. We're going to take a look at how certain settings influence the expected duration of work orders and the fulfillment timeline. Stealthywood just launched a new Stealthy Bench product, but we're having trouble getting our manufacturing schedules right. Work orders aren't finishing on time, and the delivery estimates have been pretty off the mark. We've had some seriously unhappy customers lately. Thankfully, Odoo has several Work Center parameters that we can adjust to make the time estimates more accurate for planning and scheduling to ensure that we fulfill orders on time and keep our customers glad, not mad. In order to do that, we need work centers and a bill of materials set up. So if you need to do that or learn about the rest of the fields in the Work Center form, check out our other tutorials. Once we have a bill of materials and work centers are enabled, there are 4 parameters that we can adjust: time efficiency, product capacities, setup time, and cleanup time. Okay, so first we have time efficiency. So this represents how efficient the work center is compared to the normal expected performance. The formula for time efficiency is the base runtime divided by this work center's runtime, and then finally times 100. So that formula over here gives us the exact percentage to enter in the form field. So here is going to be an example. So perfect. Let's say that we have a task that takes 60 minutes. If time efficiency is set to 100%, then the task itself will take 60 minutes, which is the base rate on the BOM or BOM. If it's set to 200%, the work center is twice as fast, so the same task would only take half the time, or 30 minutes. And if it's set to 50%, it takes twice as long, so the same task would take 120 minutes. To be clear, time efficiency, the time efficiency field refers to the speed of the work center relative to the duration on the BOM. So this is useful for adjusting the runtimes of a specific work center that's faster or slower than other work centers. But if you're setting up work centers for a new product, you can leave this field alone and use the default 100%. Since you don't actually know how fast the work centers are compared to each other yet, all you have to do is make sure the operation times are configured correctly inside of the BOM. Okay, once the work centers have been up and running for a while, check in every once in a while to see if they're running at different speeds and change the time efficiency as needed. All right, up next we have setup and cleanup times. So setup time, which we have over here on the left, is the time required before the work order. Cleanup time on the right is the time required after completing it. Unlike efficiency or capacity, these are fixed values that they get added once for each order. For example, at our finishing station, setup time over here is used to get the wood finish from storage, and cleanup time is used to return the wood finish to storage. It wouldn't make sense to move the wood finish in and out of storage while we're working, so setup and cleanup are only scheduled once before and after the order. All right. We can use product capacities to specify how many units can be processed in each cycle. So this comes in handy when or in this case, you're making more than one product at a time if you have multiple workers or production lines. For example, a work center with 2 production lines would be twice as fast as a work center with 1 line. And a work center with 3 production lines would be 3 times as fast. But it's very important to note here, Odoo schedules the same capacity for every production cycle in a single work order. If the work order doesn't require the same capacity for the final cycle, Odoo will round up. For example, if the capacity is 2 units per cycle and we receive a work order for 3 units, Odoo is going to schedule 2 cycles even though we only need 3 units. And 2 cycles can process 4 units. And one more thing before we dive into our demo. Line items in the Product Capacities tab have their own setup time and cleanup time fields. These are product specific and will override the setup and cleanup times in general information settings. The default values are set to 0, so make sure to add the setup and cleanup times here as well. All right, enough chit chat. Let's go to the database and see what this looks like in practice. All right, so here I am in the manufacturing app. So to get started, I'm going to click on configuration and then work centers. So the other work centers are running just fine, but finishing station 2 over here is being a problem child, and work orders are getting delayed during the wood staining operation. Let's open up finishing station 2 and see what we can do about it. All right, so the parameters that we're looking for are located in 2 tabs: general information and product capacities. So let's start with the time efficiency field down below in product information. So remember, this represents how efficient the work center is compared to the normal expected performance. In our case, this is one of the work centers that's been causing delays since it's running half as fast. So we're going to set the time efficiency to 50%. Next, we have setup time, which is down below over here. Now, this is the time required before the work order. And cleanup time right there, the time required after completing it. However, we're going to configure the product capacity for Stealthy Bench. Since the product specific fields take priority, we're going to skip the ones that are over here in general information and just configure them in the product capacities tab instead. All right, so let's go ahead and open up that product capacities tab because I'm all talk so far. All right, great. So Stealthywood wants this work center's throughput to match other finishing centers. Management figures it's safer to overcorrect and then dial back as needed, so we've temporarily, in this case, cranked up the capacity to have 5 lines running at once. So let's click add a line over here, and we're going to enter Stealthy Bench. Perfect, we found it over here. All right, great. And now we are going to set the capacity over here to 5 to make it 5 times faster. And since we only have to take the wood finish out of storage for setup and put it back for cleanup, we're going to set our setup time over here to 10 minutes right there. And we're going to set the cleanup time over here as well to 15. Boom. All right, don't forget to select the manual save cloud. Always save. There we go. All 4 parameters are configured. Now let's create a manufacturing order to see how those values have affected work order duration in the manufacturing app. So we're going to select operations up at the top and then manufacturing orders. Select the new button, and this time we're ready to get started. We're going to select that bench product that I just talked about. Perfect. So once we do that, the components and operations are automatically added from the BOM. Let's open the bill of material, in fact, using our nice little internal link. All right, and this time we're going to go to our operations tab over here to check the base runtime. We can see that the stain operation takes 10 minutes per unit. Keep that in mind. We're going to need that in a minute. So let's return to the manufacturing order, this time around by selecting the new breadcrumb, which is Wonder Bread. All right, and this time we're going to go to our work orders tab over here, and then we're going to set the quantity of it to 14, and then boom. Oh, did you see that? The expected duration for this work order just changed to 85 minutes. But how did we get that duration right there? Let's use what we learned to understand precisely how the work center parameters got us this number. Time for my favorite thing in the world, math. Starting with the base duration of 10 minutes from the BOM, we can calculate the expected duration for the work order in 4 steps. So step 1, since this work center has the time efficiency of 50%, the work takes twice as long. 2 times 10 minutes is 20 minutes. Step 2, moving on, but we have 5 production lines at this work center, so we can process 5 units at a time. Odoo schedules full cycles, so round up 14 divided by 5, and we are at 3 cycles. 3 times 20 minutes is 60 minutes. Now our third step, setup time, is 10 minutes. This is added afterwards because setup takes a set amount of time before the work order, so it isn't affected by time efficiency or product capacity cycles. 60 plus 10, we're at 70 minutes now. All right, and now we're at our last one, step 4. Cleanup time is 15 minutes. 70 plus 15 is 85 minutes, the number I emphasized earlier, and finally, we did it. That was fun. My brain feels like an Odoo algorithm now. All right, but I promise I'm not AI. Now to recap, the work centers fields that we covered. Time efficiency scales the cycle run, or in this case, cycle runtime, up or down, relative to the duration on the BOM, and should only be adjusted if the work center is running faster or slower than expected. Product capacity. This splits the runtime into cycles, rounded up to the nearest whole number. And finally, setup and cleanup times. These adds on a set period of time before and after the work order and are not affected by the quantity, capacity, or efficiency parameters. And there you have it, Odooers. Now you know how to adjust expected work order durations using work center parameters. To learn more about work centers, check out our other tutorials. Thank you for watching. I'm going to see you in the next video, and I'm going to adjust my snack parameters. I appear to be out.